Welcome to the Loading Up Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brother Zay, and today we have with us Producer J.
What's up? What is up?
What's going on, man? Before we get into the shenanigans of this evening, let's talk about liking and subscribing. It is free to do. It helps us continue on this journey, and we really appreciate all the listeners, all the likes, all the subs, all the shares, including the ones on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. It is greatly appreciated. We thank you all for that. But let's not forget to support also the sponsors who support us. We have W Energy, where you get 10% off at checkout if you use code LUP. We have NordVPN, which you can watch Netflix in Japan and nobody will judge you. We also have links for Starforge PCs where you can buy custom and pre-built PCs at amazing prices. The links are down below in the description. Now that we're done with all that, talk to me, Producer J. What have you been playing?
So, I have been making progress in the games that I've been playing, Elden Ring and Dungeons of Hinterberg. I'm almost done with that actually. I'm like near the end. It's longer than I thought it would be.
It is definitely a longer mini indie game.
Yeah, I called it like a micro RPG, but it's very in depth. Like the story is pretty straightforward, and it's very interesting. I like where it's going, and so I'm almost done with that. But also, as you can see by Brother Zay his gameplay that he recorded, I also have been playing Sifu, which dropped on Game Pass. I didn't even know that I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was coming this week. So
no, I didn't know it was coming at all.
No, I knew it was coming. I remember they announced it, but I didn't. For whatever reason, whenever they do the Game Pass announcements, I never pay attention to the dates. I always look that up like afterwards. When I see the thing, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, it's coming. When is it coming? And then I look it up. But this one, it kind of just, for me, it kind of shadow dropped because I saw it and then I think I saw available now, Sifu, and I think there was another game. And I'm just like, oh shit, I wanted to try this game. And so I tried it and I got a lot deeper into it than I thought I would. Because, you try new games, you play for like maybe an hour or two and you're just like, all right. I was getting into it. I didn't want to stop because I was actually doing pretty good. So, like, I got all the way up into the, what was it? I think it's the warehouse.
But the warehouse is the first boss,
No,
basically.
is it the first boss? Well,
Yeah.
then I didn't get to the first boss yet, but I was playing for a good while. So,
Nice.
I was also dying, but
So was I. You'll see.
yes. But so when I first heard about this game, I know the mechanics behind it, whereas like it's kind of like what's that movie? The Raid, I think it's called. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that basically, but in a game form, which is amazing. And but the mechanic behind like you dying and getting older, that I've never seen that before. And I remember when it came out, I was like, "Oh, that's unique."
Yes.
So I'm curious on how it's gonna work, like, cause I've seen people play it, but I've only heard them talking about it, never actually like watched gameplay or anything like that. But playing it for the first time and actually seeing it for the first time, it's really fun. I definitely recommend it. If you haven't played it already, definitely if you got Game Pass, do yourself a favor, play Sifu, please. But yeah, so I've been playing that and. Yeah, that's it. What you been playing?
Well, obviously, it's Sifu.
Yes.
I've actually had a really good time playing it. I'm very curious as about what happens when you get a lot older, and like, is it just game over? You have to start all the way over. I don't know. So
I
like,
think after a certain age, you just die.
yeah, because
Because and then you move slower.
Yeah, you be
Yeah.
peaceful running down the hallway, beating up on these like 20-year-olds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm looking forward to continue playing. Because I had a lot of fun. I mentioned earlier, but I'll say it again. I played on the PC for the podcast, and I was doing a lot better than my first playthrough when I was playing on my Xbox. So now I'm gonna take all that knowledge and just put it into my playthrough on Xbox when I get in there and play. So it was definitely a good shadow drop. I didn't expect it. I was like, oh yes, we're definitely playing this.
Yes, and
Um,
I like that it's the combos are not too complex because I remember when they were showing the combos, I was like, oh boy, I gotta remember all this stuff. But it's not that much, and it's honestly relatively easy to pull off like regularly, at
yeah,
least for me, because I'm not really a fighting game person.
yeah.
So
That's not too
y-
like. It's not Tekken.
yeah, yeah.
It's not
So
Tekken.
it's not like you gotta press like 7 buttons in a row and then
Yeah,
move the stick around and stuff like that. It's literally just press 2 buttons or up down and then like Y or
yeah,
up down and X and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's good. It's fun.
yeah. I've also been playing Space Marine 2. Been playing some more of that. That game is so fun. If you haven't looked into it or you just want some straight up action, definitely check Warhammer Space Marine 2. It's a really good game. And I also re-downloaded on Xbox Baldur's Gate 3 because the mods came out for the console version.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So now I can have like 10 players in my party. I could go up to level 20. I got unlimited space. It's great. So it's
Make it
really
the game
great.
you want it to be.
Yeah, yeah. It just makes it just a little bit more fun, because I don't have to worry about the weight of items. I don't have to worry about like, oh, I gotta pick and choose what to level up. It's got even double
Yeah.
XP mod in there, so I'm literally getting double the amount of XP,
Oh,
so I
so you
can
just
get.
got cheats on then.
Yeah, I mean, I played the game twice. Once on Xbox with my buddies. I beat it with them, legit. I played it again on my PC. I did my own playthrough. I beat it on there. So I've put many hours into the game. I can cheat now, okay? So you
Yeah,
leave me
okay,
alone.
okay, okay. Hey, I never said there was anything wrong with it. I was just
It just
pointing it
makes
out.
it just makes it more fun, and also obviously the game is came out what last year, December. Um, it just makes it last a lot longer. It
Yeah.
is October of 2024, and I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3. So that's amazing to me. I'm really getting my worth.
Yes.
So that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there one other thing you've been playing?
I mean, there's always another. What are you speaking about? Like I so I
What?
always
A DLC that just dropped?
Oh yes, I have, and yes, you're right. I have been playing Shattered Space DLC. I re-downloaded Starfield and started up the DLC, and I had to get used to the buttons again. It was like, okay, I gotta jump back into it. Like I'm riding a bike. I'm like, I remember, and
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes, I did start playing Shattered Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shattered Space. I was like, wait, what other game am I playing?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. I play a lot. I play a lot, so you gotta remind me sometimes.
I will.
Um let's jump I guess we'll jump right into the news. Um as of I think September 12th. This came out last month, but it was for the EU, the Norwegian Council for Consumer Council, together with 17 countries in the European Union. They have authorized uh, all video game companies for even games like big games and big companies like Epic with Fortnite, EA Sports for FIFA, because FIFA is really big in the EU, and in Clash of Clans. They have authorized legal action to ban virtual currencies in gaming. They or at least be upfront about the cost, the price, and as well as the percentage of your money which will buy digital currency like loot boxes in these games. A lot of these games are sort of like Clash of Clans could be potential to just spend money, just buy
Yeah.
upgrades. So they want people to know where your money's going, to be aware, so we're not just giving these companies an endless amount of your money without even realizing it. People don't realize you're spending so much money on these games digitally because it's a tied to your account. You just click buy and boom, there you go. Your money's gone. You get like that instant gratification almost like if you're gambling.
Yeah, and
So
I think. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say this console really came up to look out for the consumers, and it's more like not to ban everything. It's more like to just bring awareness and have video game companies clearly label what they're actually doing and what they're showcasing to the customers when it comes to virtual currency.
Yeah, because I think one of the major issues, and I think Xbox was guilty of this at one point. Well, no, not I think they were,
Yeah.
where you had to buy the virtual currency, so it's like Microsoft points, and then you had to use that to buy digital stuff. So it's not like a one-to-one, like you're not buying things directly. And now, like in Fortnite, you use V-Bucks, and Roblox, you use Robux. So stuff like that, where you have to buy the currency and then use that to buy whatever it is that you want to buy in the game. It they The way they price it out is that you always buy more than you need, and that's the issue. And I think what what they're trying to change is basically make it so well, like you said, they'll show the percentages of what you're actually buying, like for your dollar, and
Yeah.
it's not like it like you oh you're gonna was it like 800 V-Bucks for $10 and stuff like that. Like no, they're gonna show you the breakdown of how much one V-Buck costs, or how much it actually equates to. And
Or
I
let's
think
say, I was
what's
gonna
that?
say, let's say for instance, for loot boxes, and like with Overwatch, if you buy a loot box or any
Or
game
like
that the
what's
loot
the
box,
value?
yeah, they'll show you the percentage of chances you'll get like a particular skin or something in that loot box. So show you
Well,
that it's very small.
I think they already did that, didn't they? Because I feel like I've
I know in
um
China they did.
well, so in because when I mean I don't play it that much now, but when I was playing 2K WWE, they do have like the it's called My Faction, where you can buy cards and stuff like that. And they do show you like the percentages, like if you buy like a pack instead of buying the individual cards.
Yeah.
They show you the percentage of like what you'd be getting, like what are the chances of you getting certain cards. So I feel like they already did that.
That definitely, the companies have to start doing it because these countries are now coming out with laws that may force them to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
So
definitely starting.
yeah, ultimately, I think the goal is to basically force these companies to make it a one-to-one thing. Like it's not like, oh, this skin costs $10 or it costs 1,000 V-Bucks, but you can only buy 800 at a time. So you have to buy 14 or 16 just to get that one skin, and then you have a bunch of V-Bucks left over, and then you just buy something else. It's like they don't want that. They don't want that schemy thing to like make people buy more than they actually want.
Yeah.
So just make it one to one. Make the skin cost whatever it costs. Let you if you're gonna charge for in-game currency, then just pay for what you need, and then that's it. I
Yeah.
think Nintendo actually does that. They still run on a point system, but you can buy the exact amount of points that you need in order to buy a game. Um, yeah,
You're
so
right. They do that. You have to buy the
yeah.
exact amount. Yeah.
So and they even give you the option, like you just press a button that says buy exact amount, which I don't know
Mhm.
why anybody wouldn't do that, but yeah. So they basically are. That's what the system is geared towards, and what they want for everybody else to do.
Yeah. They're just trying to protect the consumer because these companies, they're just greedy corporations.
Yes.
They just want your money. And whether you're 10 years old or 35 and you're playing a video game, if you see something you want, you have access to a debit card or credit card, or let's say if you're young and you steal your parents' card, they don't want like people to get hooked onto these sort of gotcha, we got your money type, schemes
Mechanics. Yeah.
from these companies. They're just trying to protect you from the companies because at the end of the day, these companies just want your money. They
Yeah.
really don't care about anything else other than the green. So
And it's crazy to think that the EU government of all places is the one like that's pushing for this stuff. And it's like it's not just for games. It's also for like other stuff. Like I know they've pushed Apple to
Yes.
make changes to their iPhone. Like they added USB-C to iPhone, and now they added RCS so that way you can properly communicate with Android phones. And
Yeah.
stuff like this is like they're actually doing stuff and forcing these companies to not be shitty.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Good.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
wish the American government would do that, but no.
You would think
That's too
you would
much.
think it would be a travesty to try and get so many different countries on the same board, to
Right.
sort of work together to make things happen. You think things wouldn't work, but it tends to work more often than not, especially in the favor for consumers and the people. So
Yes.
we definitely thank the European Union for acting for the interests of the consumers.
Yes.
Yeah, we just wish that we could do more of that here in the United States.
Absolutely.
Well, we're getting a little bit of that. Speaking of in the United States, because in California, a new law will drop on January 1st. Will require online stores to disclose uh, are you purchasing licenses for digital games, movies, music, even ebooks for not owning them. So essentially, if you purchase, as you know, a digital game, you do not own the game. You own the license for that game. So these companies can pull that license whenever. That is rarely that it happens, but it's still an out there. It's still in the realm of possibility where these game companies can pull the license, and even though you paid for it, you don't own it anymore. So California is now releasing this law where the banning digital storefronts from using words such as buy or purchase unless customers are informed that they do not own that media. So starting in January, these games are gonna have to be have like an asterisk on them, probably in the back, or even online they'll have like a pop up when you go to buy that you technically do not own these games.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this would be implemented. Because I think this basically the whole not owning thing or owning digital media is basically is DRM. That's what it is. They want to make sure that you actually own the license so that you're not playing like a pirated copy, even though like that's people do that anyway.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's in like the TOS where you don't own the game, you don't own anything. Like they can revoke access at any point for any reason, and they it's legal. That's in the TOS. So and you agree
yeah,
to it. That's one of those things. Like I feel like every game has it now. When you start it up, they have the little TOS that you have to scroll through, and then you press A and not really think about it. And yeah, that's in there. So I do appreciate that they're trying to make it that where it's more transparent, so that way people aren't making that argument that it's like, oh, like, because this also applies to physical games. It's not just digital games.
oh yeah,
Technically, the publisher or whoever made the game has the right to revoke your access, even if it's physical. I mean, granted, you can find workarounds to get to avoid it, but for the most part, they can revoke your access. They've done it before. They did it with I mean, it's mostly online games that it's happened where your disc, look at Concord. That disc, that Concord disc is the paperweight now. You can't, that means nothing. You do not own that game. So, but shockingly enough, that also applies to single player games that are not online. And yeah, so I do think that yeah, it's gonna be like Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. They're gonna have to have, like you said, a pop-up. Basically, when you click buy, it's gonna say notice you don't own this game, you don't own the rights to, or you don't own the legal right, whatever they
either
gotta
one.
say. They're gonna do that, and it's I don't know if it's really gonna change much because people don't read this shit. Like we just said, like it's in the terms of service. Nobody reads the terms of service. So while I appreciate that they're doing it, it probably is not gonna change much.
No, I mean this is only in California. It's not all of the United States.
Right. Yes.
Just like most of laws that happen in the state of California, they're only for the state of California. And you would see things like on certain foods, like it has this chemical that's known in the state of California to cause cancer. Like you'll see something like that.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is with digital stuff, it's not like they're gonna make a separate like client like for Steam for Californians. Like I think the just to save time and not to like waste effort into putting this stuff just for one state, they'll probably just make it widespread.
You could be right.
I feel like it. I feel like there's just it doesn't make sense to like try and segregate California from this stuff and then us in New York like then we won't see this but people in California will. Like I don't see how that would even be plausible. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah.
I have some friends in California. When this drops, I'm gonna see if they can have like a screenshot for us, and maybe we can
Yes.
see what it looks like in action.
Yes, that would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. We'll report back on that. And let's get some very odd news. The original story for PlayStation 5 was this is from IGN. The PlayStation 5 now has an advert system built into the dashboard user interface where you can't disable without disconnecting from the internet. So they have these it's an ad application that pops up ads sometimes and it wasn't supposed to be active. Some PlayStation 5 users, including my son because I was able to see it when they click the game tile for let's say Spider-Man 2, you get to see a whole ad in the background instead of the game pop up. So instead of seeing Spider-Man pop up, you would see an ad in the background. And apparently that was a mistake. They weren't supposed to do that. It sort of got released early and it was a technical error, Sony said. And they fixed it. It's not going to ever happen again according to them. But if it
Uh,
happened the first time, it could happen again. Um, I thought it was just pretty funny. You know, it wasn't just it was an ad, but it was an ad for Spider-Man stuff. It was very odd. It had like three people sitting in the background. They all had like Spider-Man t-shirts or something. It was weird. Um, but yeah, so everybody's been talking a lot about how Xbox has this one ad that pops up about a new Xbox game, either joining Game Pass or a new DLC that dropped for one of their flagships. Just like Starfield Shattered Space had a few second ad pop up when you first turned on the Xbox saying, "Hey, Shattered Space is now available." But now this is seemed to be a little bit more intrusive, where it's like it was all over in the background of your games and right on your home screen background. It was very weird, very odd. I do hope that this technical error was just an actual technical error and it won't happen again because I can't see paying so much for the online services like PlayStation gamers do, even Xbox gamers when they play for Ultimate, to then see ads that intrusive.
yeah. I People would like constantly make fun of and complain about the whole Xbox dashboard thing that shows up like once and you could just X out of it and then that's it. They did
Yeah,
it a few times for like Call of Duty and Starfield and Hellblade. I think they did it for. It makes sense because that's their big game. You know, like that they want you to buy it, and it's not. It's all just like one little thing. It's not anything intrusive. It's not. You can literally click a button and you're out of there. So,
yeah,
um, the fact that this is basically taking that to a whole nother level where it's games you already own and every single time you go to the tile and it shows stuff that it's showing like reviews and YouTube videos and like tutorials, guides and stuff like that. It's like what like okay, I get if cuz the way I feel like it used to work, granted, I don't use my PlayStation a lot. So I feel like I remember how it used to be where it's like you go to the tile, It shows like some stats, like your trophies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you scroll down a little bit, and then it shows all that stuff. If you want it, you can scroll down to it. But showing it in the background, I mean, maybe it was a glitch. I don't know. It just seems so like out of place. And it's
It
like,
is.
why would you even put that there? Like,
I mean,
what purpose does it serve?
the ads have always been, it's been part of the PlayStation Store section for years now. Where you go to the PlayStation Store, you'll see ads in the PlayStation Store. But it was exclusively only to the store section. Now it's just on your dashboard in your game tiles. If you switch over to a game tile, boom, it showed you a different ad for that particular game or just something to the nature of that. And it was just very odd. Like it just wasn't. It didn't feel like it was supposed to be there. Even my son, he
Yeah.
stopped playing. He looked and said, "Dad, what's this?" And I was like, "What is it?" And it was little ad. I was like, "What the heck is that? It's so weird." I was like, "I don't know." And then he just started playing the game. I mean, sure, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but if I if I'm paying, let's say I got the PS5 Pro, and I got to pay for the online service on PlayStation Plus. I'm paying a lot of money. Now I gotta come home and see an ad. That's weird.
Yeah.
You know, like how much more money do these companies need out of
Oh
us?
my God.
You
Yeah. I
know,
don't.
it's very odd.
Yeah. But I hopefully, like they said, it was a glitch. It wasn't meant to do. But Ubisoft said the same thing about their in-game ad that was supposedly a glitch. And I
I
mean, granted, we haven't seen that again, but that seemed too clean to be a glitch. It seemed very intentional.
think they were testing the
So
waters for
they
sure.
were probably testing it. I mean, maybe PlayStation was testing it too and trying to see how people will react. And of course, the fanboys were just like, it's not a big deal, blah 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 blah. You know, because it's PlayStation. That's all they do. But but yeah. So overall, I think. I mean, we don't know for sure. We'll see if it ever rears its ugly head again.
We definitely will see. Despite our antics here on the show, we play PlayStation games too, so we will see.
I I do PlayStation. I do play PlayStation games. Not often, but I do.
Yeah, yeah,
It's literally just my exclusive machine. Like once a PlayStation exclusive comes out that I want to play, and I mean I still have some that I need to play. Like I still gotta play Last of Us Part 2. I still gotta play Ghost of Tsushima.
well, you didn't play
Um
Last of Us Part Two?
no. I have it. I bought it. Or no, I didn't buy it. I got it as a gift. And then I was waiting to play um no, because I was waiting for the PS5 update because it didn't come out yet. It was just on PS4. Then they released the PS5 update, and I was like, all right, I'll wait, or I'll play it soon. And then I think they no, well I was gonna say they're gonna remake it, although they might. Who knows? They
At this
might
point,
remake it part two.
at this,
Um, yeah. But yeah, so I'll play it soon.
yeah,
But yeah, so I that's what my PlayStation 5 is for.
yeah, same. It's for those exclusives, and that's it. Um, but yeah, we'll see more of the ad situation. And again, it's not just Sony doing it. Like you said, Ubisoft is doing it. Xbox has done it before in a very different way, but still they've done it. I just don't see this boning well over with the general public. You know, booting up your console and seeing an ad is just a little ridiculous to me. So
Yeah.
we'll see if they continue down this path.
I hope not. I mean, I know Sony does a lot of shady stuff, but come on, like, don't do this.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right into some news from after the Tokyo Game Show. Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond decided to meet up with the creators of Final Fantasy. Was it Rebirth? Final
Yeah,
Fantasy VII
remake and
Rebirth.
rebirth.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
director. Well, the
Direct.
studio that made it. Yeah.
Yeah, Bala Studios. They stopped in at Square Enix to talk to the devs about the future of Square Enix on Xbox, which we saw from the Tokyo Game Show. that they announced the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered to be out on Xbox. The first time the Final Fantasy games 1 through 6 are on Xbox, and it's been doing pretty well. And sales wise, I think this bodes well for the future of Final Fantasy 16, as well as the remake 7 and Rebirth coming to Xbox. I hope that it's sooner than later. I do want to play Final Fantasy 7, but I want to play it on my Xbox, and I'll wait. I'll wait for it because currently my PC setup is not the most comfortable to sit and play, long sessions of games. So I don't want to jump into a Final Fantasy game at the very least on the PC. So I'll wait until it hits Xbox as long as it takes, and we just hope it's soon. This meeting did go over very well for them. Um, they're talking about how um, the future of Xbox is where Japanese gamers can come to play. That was evident with all the Legends of Mana games coming to Game
Yeah.
Pass that week of the Tokyo, and even games like from Atlas, like the new Metaphor Refans. Is it Metaphor Refantasio? It's a
Yes.
long name.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very
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 odd
a
name.
mouth. Yeah, it's an odd name. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, definitely. That game, it seems like it got exclusive advertisements from Xbox. That game comes out in a couple weeks, and so the home
No, I think
of
it's next week actually.
probably the 10th, something like that.
Yeah, I think
Um
it's next week. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like so many JRPGs are coming out on Xbox now. You can find very many of them on Xbox. I think all the Final Fantasies up until 15 are currently on Xbox. So everything is sort of coming along from the Square Enix announcing that partnership with Xbox. Things are starting to come into fruition, and that's just good for gamers. And it's also good for Square Enix.
Yeah, I like that Square Enix is being very upfront about their embracement of Xbox. 'Cause I know they haven't had the best relationship over the years, and I think I don't know if it was because of Phil Spencer. I think it was mainly because of like previous guys like Don Matrick and stuff like that. Like I don't think they facilitated that relationship very well, which caused Square to like pivot towards Sony. But clearly, Sony wasn't the partner they thought they were gonna be, and uh, they're very vocal about the mistake they made by going with their exclusivity deal with Sony, and even subtly blame them for it for their poor financials. Not just for Final Fantasy, obviously, but for like other games, like even like Forspoken and stuff like that. But it's good to see Square Enix embracing Xbox, and I hope to see more of this. And uh, so we were talking about this in the group chat, and I floated the idea if they're having meetings about a timeline of when Final Fantasy 7, because we know it's coming, we know 16 is coming. It's just a matter of time. I think they might, because I'm pretty sure Xbox is done with like presentations for the rest of the year. The only thing that's big enough to have like an announcement at is the Game Awards, and it seems like Xbox likes to announce stuff at the Game Awards, even though freaking Jeff Keighley hates Xbox. And he maybe not he doesn't hate Xbox, but he loves Sony. So yeah, so for whatever reason, Microsoft likes to announce stuff there. They announced Blade last year, and was that the Game Awards or was that Summer Games Fest? I feel like it was Game Awards, right?
Think so. Yeah.
I think it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, they announced Blade last year, and I think the year before they had. I mean, I feel like every Game Award before this year had a Hellblade preview. Um, And then they even announced the Series X at the Game Awards. So they do treat the Game Awards as a big deal. They announced Perfect Dark at the Game Awards one year.
Yeah, I think
So
they do that because they know that more gamers are watching that, and not necessarily all Xbox gamers, just more gamers in
yes,
general on PlayStation.
potential.
Yeah, more potential customers are
Yes,
watching that show, so they say, "Hey, why not do it there?" Because they can launch it on their own show, but it would just be focused for Xbox gamers, you know?
yes.
So they
So
gotta
yeah,
branch out a little bit and let other people know, hey, this is coming to Xbox, you know?
yeah. So they have a history of announcing things at the Game Awards. So I think they might have something similar in regards to Final Fantasy, the way they did or what they were supposed to do Baldur's Gate 3 last year, where Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year, and then they were supposed to announce it that it was coming to Xbox that night, and they didn't. So hopefully that won't happen again. Maybe they'll just stick to a trailer so that way they make sure they get that information out there. Um, and yeah, I think that's a very possible thing. And it
I
maybe
will be
maybe not.
super excited if that does happen.
Yeah, no, I feel like that would be a very cool thing to do. Maybe it won't be Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. Maybe it'd be Final Fantasy 16.
Just
I
16,
know
yeah.
it's 16 for now. I think they're trying to space things out and not like have very. I mean, they're trying to build hype for it because, like I said, we know these games are coming. It's just a matter of when. So,
It would be even
I
sweeter if Final Fantasy 16 wins Game of the Year and then boom, announce it on Xbox. That would be like a double whammy for Xbox, you know? Hit the Game of
I
the Year onto the system.
I don't think Final Fantasy 16 is getting nominated.
It was just me talking, and we know it's not getting nominated.
I
We
mean, that
know
would
it's
be nice, but it's not. I don't think it's getting nominated. I'm
no,
sorry to say.
I know. Wishful
But
thinking.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so I think ultimately, I think that's a possible thing that can happen. But yeah, either way, it's good to see that this. And granted, I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy person, although I will say this new this new partnership that they're having with Xbox with Square Enix, I hope it extends to Kingdom Hearts, because then you'll have my attention. If Xbox can announce the next Kingdom Hearts game, shoosh.
Now it was wishful thinking.
Right? I mean, that game is probably 3 years away. Let's be honest. Um,
You got
but
another
yeah,
8 years.
8 years. Yeah. But anyway, like you said before. It's good for gamers. It's good for Xbox gamers, and yeah, it's just good for everybody.
Definitely good for everybody. So we hope to see more of that. More news on Square Enix and Xbox. Let's get into something a little more divisive because this game just dropped the other day on the 30th. A DLC to Starfield, Shattered Space. And it's not doing too well with the Metacritic score. A lot of people seem to be posting online how it has a lower Metacritic score than Concord, which I don't know if that's the dig that they think it is. Concord is dead. You can't even play Concord. Um, but yeah, people were out there talking about how it's terrible. They didn't like it. It's just like the base game. So, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that's good to think about. Like a lot of people didn't like Starfield to begin with when it came to like the Metacritic score, especially fanboys of the other side. They didn't like it. So why would they go and then make a review on a game's DLC that they just didn't like? I think it's sort of like being forced to have a bad Metacritic score because I'm playing it now and so far it's got some of the best things that I wish I had more of in Starfield, including like low gravity or zero gravity fights, including like just more in-depth story. We get to see a lot more of House of Varun and other than just like the bad guys who were trying to shoot at you in space, you know. We're getting to see a lot more with this DLC and sort of flesh out the story more. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm having a lot of fun with what I'm playing. Of course, that's just me and my personal opinion. Um, but I think a lot of the hate is being forced because people are just a little salty that Starfield is out. It's now trending online all over Twitter. People are talking about it, especially after the Metacritic score. And now they're comparing it to a dead game that came out on PlayStation. And it's just like people are having fun playing it because people are playing it on Steam, people are playing on Xbox. It's fun. What I'm playing is fun, and I really think that the haters who didn't like the base game, they weren't gonna like the because it wasn't gonna change their mind about the game. Because technically, it's still the same game, just with more story. I think they were just bad faith actors, you know, going out there and putting out bad reviews just to have a bad review on a game that they didn't like. Um, and I think that's sort of like terrible because people are now posting up the Metacritic score as just some aha moment against Xbox and Starfield, when in reality, I'm just having fun playing the game.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that it's only like what, like 10 people reviewed it or like something like that.
Right now is 8 reviews, eight
Yeah.
Metascore critic reviews.
So if people who are heavily critical against Starfield are going to review this, then obviously that Metacritic is gonna be low because if you had the same amount of people that reviewed the base game as the DLC, it would be a lot higher. But if people want to write a review for this DLC specifically because they didn't like it, then obviously that's gonna hurt the game or hurt the DLC. So it's all about, like, I mean, I don't think they're trying to push an agenda. I just think they're trying to get the clicks because if there's only 8 people or 8 sites reviewing it, people are gonna visit those sites to see what they said. And maybe not everybody, but a lot of people will, just to see like, oh, why they're trashing on it and stuff like that. But ultimately, I think, I mean, granted, I haven't played the DLC. I haven't jumped back into Starfield yet. I will soon. um, so when that happens, I will obviously play the DLC. Um, but despite that, if you enjoyed Starfield, based on what I've seen and what I've heard, you're gonna enjoy the DLC. And if you're worried about the length, it's about 5 to 6 hours if you just do the main story. If you just do the main story and you like blaze through it. Obviously, there's side quests and there's different things you can do. There's exploration, stuff like that. Basically, like Starfield, like literally, I spent like, what was it, like 80 hours, 90 hours or something like that, and I'm still like barely like through the main story. So it's like, it's up to you how fast you want to complete it. So if length is an issue for you, then I mean, you really shouldn't worry about that. It's play at your pace. Don't rush anything. Um but yeah, I think basically it's just, if you like Starfield, you'll like this DLC.
Yeah.
If is it worth $30? Debatable. But obviously the main target for Starfield players is through Game Pass, and through Game Pass, I mean, granted, I think the upgrade was $30, right?
Yeah, so the upgrade, if you had Game Pass, the upgrade was $30. So that means you get the DLC for that price. You don't have to pay an additional $30. It comes
Okay.
with it.
It comes with it
So
when it came
it
out.
comes
All
with it.
right,
All you
so
have to do is download it.
so
The
yeah, if it depends if you feel like it's worth $30. I mean, like I said, it's debatable. It's really your preference.
well, when the game first came out in early, you know, they did the you pay $30, you get it like 3 days early.
The early access,
The
yeah.
early access part. So the early access part had over 1 million players. So over 1 million people have access to the DLC for free. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to pay an additional $30. You just have to download it and play it. So the notion that, oh, it's, you know, it's, oh, you know, you have to pay $30. No, You only have to pay $30 if you brought just the base game or just have it with Game Pass. And even if you do, it is actually on sale for like $25 because you have Game Pass.
The Game Pass gives you the discount, yeah.
It gives you a discount. So it could be worth it if you want more. If you like Starfield and you wanted more from story wise, I think it's worth it.
And I
I
think
will.
I've seen people compare it to like, oh, I thought this was gonna be like the like Fallout's Far Harbor DLC because that was really great, and it's just like, yeah, that was made that was the last DLC of the game, and that was after like fan feedback and everything like that. So like to expect that in the first DLC, like
It
I
was
feel like
many
it's
years, definitely after too.
yeah. So and I think it's like you said, it's a bad faith argument to make that like, oh, it should be compared to Fallout 4's last DLC, the first DLC. Like there's gonna be more expansions.
Yeah.
So
Like
just
the one review that I was reading that was definitely bad. They gave it a 40 out of 100, and it said that you have to travel everywhere on foot. Well, obviously they didn't play the game because
yeah,
they
they
added a
just
whole
added
buggy.
yeah, they just changed that.
Oh, you can get a buggy and drive your buggy around the planet, so you don't even have to go everywhere on foot. And the buggy is fun as hell. It has a turret on it and everything. And if you get into an area where there's zero gravity, you're basically flying across the planet. So this is what I mean by bad faith reviews. We're just reviewing it in bad faith to try and lower the Metacritic score to show people, oh look, it's not as good as other
Yeah.
DLCs. You know, it's
I
terrible.
think yeah, I think they just want the clicks. They wanted people to come to the site because they knew a lot of people weren't gonna review it. No, not many games DLC gets its own Metacritic review. So
That again goes to show you that even after a year,
like even
people are
look
still
at
talking
for
about
example, I'm
Starfield.
sorry, I don't look at Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. That had
Yeah.
70 reviews. So it's like that's around the same amount of people who reviewed the base game, and it got around the same score.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's just if you like Starfield, you want to play it, and let's say you did purchase the early access, all you gotta do is download it and try it for yourself. From what I've played of it, I've played like 5 or 6 of the missions already, and it's some pretty heavy stuff because it deals with a lot of politics. It deals with a lot of religious stuff with these people. So, I mean, I won't spoil anything for anybody who wants to give it a try. I think they're doing a good job with it. I'm having fun playing it again. You know, again, this is now a year later after I put over 5 days. I don't know how many hours it is. Over 5 days of playing the original base game. I went back and started playing the DLC. So, if you want and you enjoyed it, you have access to it. Download it and try it for yourself. Don't worry about the discourse online or about the Metacritic score and people trying to use it as a console war talking point.
Yeah. It's just with
Yeah. I mean, that's all we have for the news this week. We had a short
it's
week
very
this week.
yeah, very very light on the news this week.
Yeah, very light.
And
Oh,
we
and
even
that's
talked
okay.
about stuff from last week that we didn't get a chance to because of the Tokyo Game
No,
Show and State of
last week
Play.
was last week was too much.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, most weeks is a lot. So
Yeah.
we need a break every now and then. Um so yeah, that'll do it for us guys. Remember, you can like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can rate us on any podcast app that you're using to listen to this. And don't forget to support our sponsors, W Energy, NordVPN, and Starford Systems. And just comment if you wanna interact with us. You can follow us on our socials that are on the screen as well if you're watching on YouTube. And in the description, you can see everything that is there. We want to thank you for listening, and thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Later.